Bone meal fertilizer is a great source of phosphorus and can provide us many rewarding benefits if we use this correctly. So in this video, we will discuss all about bone meal fertilizer, its benefits, how to correctly use bone meal and so on. So let's begin, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Bone meal fertilizer is a powdered form fertilizer that is made up of bones. It's simply powdered form of bones that we can use in our plants for healthier growth of roots. Bone meal powder contains a good amount of phosphorus, calcium and other trace elements. With time they get into the roots and help the plant to grow better. Use of bone meal fertilizer in our plants can be extremely beneficial if we apply it correctly, on which we will talk after a while. First, let's uncover some very useful benefits of bone meal fertilizer. Bone meal fertilizer is a rich source of organic phosphorus that is very helpful for the faster growth of roots. Regular use of bone meal on a plant makes the soil rich in phosphorus, which is an extremely beneficial thing for the faster growth of fibrous roots. And in result, they are now more efficient to take nutrients from the soil. Use of bone meal powder in our plants also fulfills their calcium deficiency, and in result, black spots and patches of leaves won't appear again. Use of bone meal in tomato plant soil can prevent their rotting bottoms. In roses, this powerful phosphorus fertilizer reduces the chance of fungal attack and prevent black patchy leaves as well. Bone meal is an organic source of phosphorus. It is a very slow release fertilizer that will keep on releasing its benefits up to 4 months. This is very useful for the consistent growth of heavy feeder plants like hibiscus, roses, tomatoes, citrus, etc. Using bone meal fertilizer in succulents can also be very beneficial, as it has phosphorus and it is required by the roots to produce pups as well. Means bone meal indirectly also promotes the growth of pups. Bone meal fertilizer also improves the fertility of soil because it contains other trace elements as well. These elements include iron, magnesium, calcium and zinc. A good soil mix is necessary for all plants, so for making an ideal soil mix for your plants at home, follow the video linked in the I button and description box. The high phosphorus content promotes flowering and fruiting, especially it's very beneficial for flowering plants, fruits and vegetables because it improves their overall yield and the quality of fruit. Using bone meal fertilizer in our plants can be a super beneficial thing by serving our plants' health in these ways. So subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks. And now it's also important to know the right method to apply. So for that, you just have to take a tablespoon of this bone meal fertilizer and add it on the soil surface of a plant. You can also buy a good quality bone meal from the description box link. Now mix it with the soil and add a good amount of moisture. Adding too much bone meal fertilizer can be harmful and have severe burning effects on the leaves. So it's also important to follow up the right dose for best quality results. You should apply this phosphorus fertilizer only once a month in the growing season. For example, if your plant is growing, you can regularly use this fertilizer, but don't use it in the off season. Bone meal is a very good fertilizer for flowering and fruit producing plants, as it promotes a very fast and stable growth on them. Heavy feeders like hibiscus, roses, tomatoes and so on are the perfect choice to test out the bone meal powder. As it comes in the list of phosphorus fertilizers, you can also use it for succulents and cacti, but the best homemade fertilizer for succulents is also linked in the description box and I button. You can use that too. As it's a phosphorus fertilizer, you can also use it on the root vegetables and pup producing plants. So it's all about the benefits and uses of bone meal fertilizer, but there are a few disadvantages of bone meal fertilizer as well. As it is basically an animal remain, therefore other animals like cat and dogs etc. may be attracted towards the soil. So it's very important to mix the bone meal fertilizer with the soil very well. Using only bone meal fertilizer for a plant can be very harmful. The nutrients like phosphorus and calcium will be high, but other nutrients like nitrogen, potassium etc. will be lower in the soil, and this thing is called as nutrients imbalance. So to overcome this, it's better to also use other fertilizers side by side, or use this by mixing it with other fertilizers like I made this one. It's made for heavy feeder plants. Video on this is linked in the description box and I button. Bone meal is a great fertilizer, but a little increase in its dosage can make the soil's pH to rise. So use only a tablespoon of bone meal on a 5 to 6 inches of pot. Bone meal powder is a slow release fertilizer, therefore it takes much longer to dissolve in the soil and reach to the roots. So if you are also using bone meal, then make sure you are patient. So it's all about bone meal fertilizer. For knowing more about other type of fertilizers like rock phosphate, cow dung, blood meal, seaweed etc., follow this playlist linked here, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.